And away we go, and this is precision driving required in these. It's all about maintaining momentum. If you lose momentum, you'd never kind of regain the position. But the man from second on the grid, Murray Scott, heads into an early lead. Dan Martin slots into second place as they head down Duffus for the first time, and it's 27 James Hitchin. Looks like he has got himself into third position as they move through McIntyre's down the hill towards Butchers, and Murray Scott doing an excellent job so far. He's already got 5 or 6 car lengths clear of the rest of the pack, headed by Dan Martin, with James Hitchin in third position overall, ahead of Andrew Davison in fourth. Aidan Wilson already making up places. He's already made up 3 or 4 positions as they slither their way through Clark Corner. Aidan Wilson in the blue car with the Scottish flag on the roof. He's gone from last to fourth last in the first half lap. And let's see how much further he can go through the pack. Bit of a battle on for second position. Dan Martin having to defend there from James Hitchin. James Hitchin lost momentum as a result going through the hairpin, and that has put the 70 car of Andrew Davison right on his tail. 1 inch behind him as they cross the line, in fact. And that's what happens in Citroen C1 racing. If you lose momentum like that with a failed overtaking manoeuvre, then you've lost that momentum until the next time you brake for a corner and the cars adjust speed again, so you never get that pace back again. And Aidan Wilson was lucky to hang on to third place there. Not Aidan Wilson, I should say, it was Andrew Davison that was challenging for third against James Hitchin. So James Hitchin still there in third position though, ahead of Andrew Davison. Aidan Wilson though is still moving up strongly through the field. He's now overtaken another couple of cars, so he's up to, I think, let's count it down through the pack, he's up to 6th place already and challenging for 5th, which means he will be challenging Martin Nisbet. Martin Nisbet, a regular front runner in a plain white car this year, the number 117 car, and yep, here comes Aidan Wilson to try and outbrake him down the inside the hairpin. Beautifully done on the way in, and Aidan Wilson just judges that to perfection. In fact, that's how to overtake in a Citroen C1. Absolute perfection from Aidan Wilson there as he comes through, and he's now into the top 5 from the back of the grid. At the front of the field, Murray Scott beginning to pull away. He's established a 1.3 second lead already with just 2 laps down. Dan Martin second, James Hitchin third, Andrew Davison fourth, and Aidan Wilson sets the fastest lap of the race at 1 minute 14.199. So these cars are around 10 seconds a lap slower than what you'll see in Minis and Fiesta racing, but the racing is still very, very close, as you can see. And we've got a challenge now on for third position as the number 70 car of Andrew Davison. He just won't give up his attempts to catch James Hitchin in front of him. And what you'll be very aware of Andrew Davison is the fact that Aidan Wilson is right on his bootlet as well. So we've got a 3-car battle now shaping up for third, fourth and fifth positions, headed at the moment by James Hitchin. And then behind him Andrew Davison in the 70 car, and then from the back of the grid Aidan Wilson is there already. He's getting a nice slipstream along the straight towards the hairpin, but here comes Andrew Davison popping out the slipstream to try and pass James Hitchin on the way to the corner. Doesn't quite have enough bite on the brakes to get alongside, but that again has slowed him down a little bit. That allows Aidan Wilson to get very much in the picture, although Aidan Wilson puts a couple of wheels in the dirt, and that just lost him a little bit of traction out the hairpin. And he'll pay for that as they go along the straight, because all the way along the straight he will be very, very gradually caught by the 117 car behind him. And in fact the 77 car of James McCracken's on the move as well, closing into the back of the 117 of Mark Nisbet. That's for 6th and 7th position. Dan Martin has now set the fastest lap of the race, so a 1 minute 13.975. Dan Martin is second, and Aidan Wilson's actually getting wrong-footed slightly at McIntyre. He tried to pass Andrew Davison, didn't quite work. Andrew Davison has repassed him, and that has allowed James Hitchin to clear off a little bit, about 5 or 6 car lengths advantage for James Hitchin in third place, ahead of the 4th and 5th place men Andrew Davison and Aidan Wilson. So Aidan now finding it a little bit harder to pass these guys. He's quickly got through the lower end of the field, but when you're fighting through the pack like this from back to front, each overtake gets harder and harder than the previous one because they're faster people you're coming up against. But he's managed to do it this time. He's ahead of Andrew Davison as they break for the hairpin, and through he goes up into 4th position this time. But Andrew Davison and Martin Nisbet fighting hard behind him, and Andrew Davison in fact is right onto the back of Aidan Wilson's car as they cross the line. So this is another slipstreaming special here. A couple of inches in it as they cross the start-finish line. Under the Beatson's Bridge they go, and Aidan Wilson I think is just going to cling on as they get to Duffus. Yes, he breaks a little bit later for Duffus, carries a little bit more speed into the corner, and he's now away in 4th position. And his next target then is to try and catch James Hitchin in the 27 car in 3rd position. Fastest lap of the race now goes to Murray Scott, 1 minute 13.481. Murray Scott is in the lead, of course, car 51. So I think the track is getting slightly quicker at the moment. We're seeing the fastest lap coming down and down and down. But 2 cars now under the 1 minute 14 barrier. That's Dan Martin in 2nd place, and fastest overall Murray Scott in 1st position. So the leading 2 well separated, but the 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th are all within fighting distance of each other. And in 3rd it's James Hitchin, still hanging on in 3rd. He'll be well aware now that it's Aidan Wilson who's in 4th behind him. You'll see that the light blue bonnet looming large in the middle, and Aidan Wilson on the attack now. His safety car has been called up, and his safety car lights flashing at the marshal's posts. Now let me see what has happened here. We've got a car off halfway along the back straight, and I think that might be well, it's a red car. I'm trying to identify which one it is. I think it's Dale Edwards. Dale Edwards it is that's gone off. He's halfway along the back straight, so I think he's had a bit of an incident coming out of the chicane, and he's the car is the right way up though. I can see the roof.
Well, that's it's always a good start, isn't it?
Yes, and he's facing directly towards the commentary box actually, so he's about halfway along the straight. So that will be a quick tow out, but with 5 laps to go.
It's actually probably quite good because it compacts the field together, and we're going to get a really entertaining last few laps.
Well, you're quite right there actually, Ken. That's a good point, because Aidan Wilson, although he's done a fantastic job of getting up through the field, and he's on the attack for 3rd position, I think with the laps remaining, he was never going to catch the leading 2 unless they made a mistake. But now they're all going to be bumper to bumper, and there's a chance that Aidan Wilson could actually go from the back to the front in this. But Murray Scott, Dan Martin and James Hitchin will be very difficult for him to overtake. But he's going to be close enough to them that he's at least going to have a fighting chance. So yes, this changes the whole complexion of the race. Safety car picks up the leading pair, and in fact I think that's the whole field neatly queued up, and there's just the one in the gravel down at the back straight, which is the Brabham Incline, to give it its correct name. Now some nice tyre warming. I can hear that through your microphone, Kenny, actually, the tyre warming that's going on here.
It's rather enthusiastic tyre warming.
Yeah, but it's a road-based tyre they're using. I don't know if there's a lot to be gained temperature-wise. But yes, it's nice to hear. It's drowning out the noise of the engines.
They're heavily treaded as well, these tyres.
Yeah, there's quite strict rules on the amount of tread on the tyres, because one thing that some people often do, if they're required to run road-based tyres, in fact, if you go on the Demon Tweaks website, you know, it's one of the big suppliers of race accessories or race equipment and things. If you go on the Demon Tweaks website, they actually have a tyre buffing service. So they'll actually take your road-based tyre and they'll just scrub half the tread off it to wear it down, so you've got a little bit more of a contact patch on the road. But you're not allowed to do things like that in Citroen C1s. The tyre regulations are very, very strict, and we have seen drivers penalised for that in the past. So you've got to have a healthy amount of tread on the tyre. So the stricken car on the back straight is now under tow, and so I think depending on how quickly they can find a hiding place for it, we might just have one more lap under safety car. The safety car laps, we're allowed 3 laps under safety car before we lose racing laps. So the race distance will actually just be extended to compensate for the safety car laps until it goes beyond 3. But this is only the end of safety car lap 1 at the moment, so we should be good to get going again. Now that the car under tow has been towed at high speed, or at least it looked it towards Clark Corner, and then he'll be I wonder if they'll either park him in the stock car loop or rallycross exit. I'm not sure which one, but probably stock car loop, and then that'll be us clear to go. So I think we'll have one more lap under safety car, and then we'll be back to racing. And we should have 4 or 5 laps remaining, but the timing computer will keep us right on that. Yes, it's the 19 car of Dale Edwards. Now it looked like it was red when it was facing me from the distance, but it's actually orange and blue. So there you go. That's my colour recognition shot to pieces. So that car's been taken into the stock car loop and out of harm's way. And so now we should see the field bunch up, and so this means we've got a fantastic little dash to the flag here, because any one, I would say, of the top 6 cars could win this. So that's 51 Murray Scott, who's leading at the moment, from Dan Martin 99, James Hitchin in the white 27 car, Aidan Wilson in the blue 24, Andrew Davison in the blue and silver number 70, and the all white 117 of Martin Nisbet. I reckon any one of those 5 could win this. It's going to be quite frantic last few laps. So the timing computer is resetting to 5 laps to go, and it's Murray Scott's to lose, basically. He's in front, he's led all the way. Very, very good, strong opening lap from Murray Scott. He built up a good few lengths advantage even before the end of the first lap, but all that's disappeared now because the safety car lights are out, the field is queued up behind him, and there is no distance between the following cars. So Murray Scott gets everybody into line. He controls the pace at the moment, and it's hard to tell when they accelerate away when the safety car goes off track, but I think he has accelerated.
There's no real
away.
difference in pace.
Yes, I think he has accelerated now, so into the hairpin they go then, and no overtaking, of course, till they pass the first green flag, which looks like it's going to be the one at the end of the pit lane wall. And off we go then, we're racing again.
Yeah, a really good start from Murray Scott. He's timed that perfectly. Got himself a couple of car lengths as they head underneath the bridge.
Yes, it's quite an effective restart. The first 4, in fact, have kind of spaced themselves out a little bit more than I'd hoped, because I was hoping they'd still be bumper to bumper at this stage, but we're still going to get a challenge for second position from James Hitchin, trying to get us inside Dan Martin there at McIntyre's. Didn't make it through. That meant he was slightly slow on the exit, and that brings Aidan Wilson into play as the 3 of them head over the drop of the hill at the chicane, and Aidan Wilson gets a very nice run out of the chicane. He's closed right into the back now of James Hitchin. James will be aware he's there, and here comes the dive up the inside at Clark Corner, and yep, Aidan Wilson gets alongside, but James Hitchin responds, and there's a little tap between them, but James Hitchin still just ahead of Aidan Wilson as they head in towards the hairpin. James Hitchin in the 27 car, Aidan Wilson in the blue 24 car. That's the battle for 3rd and 4th. Into the hairpin they go. Aidan Wilson doesn't try to overtake there. He knows he would risk losing a lot of momentum, and so he just latches onto the back of James Hitchin's car, and he follows him up the straight in the slipstream, hoping to make a manoeuvre, I'm sure, at the end of the straight, but that's bringing Andrew Davison into play. Andrew Davison was quicker through that section. He is in 5th overall at the moment, so we're back to pretty much where we were. The leading 2 have managed to stretch their advantage, and really the focus now, with 3 laps to go, including the one they're on, is between James Hitchin and Aidan Wilson. Aidan Wilson quicker through McIntyre's, but he's nowhere to go. He's tapping the boot lid of James Hitchin as they head down through Butchers up over the chicane, and really Aidan Wilson will be trying to work out, can he get past at Clark's this time. I think James Hitchin's slightly better on the run into Clark, so Aidan Wilson not close enough just now to mount a challenge, and Andrew Davison's just hovering there, ready to pick up any mistakes. If either of the 2 in front start battling, they'll lose momentum, and Andrew Davison will be right there with a chance of a podium. But here comes Aidan Wilson. He had a little look down the middle of the road there to see if he could dive into the hairpin ahead of James Hitchin, but it wasn't going to happen that time round. But he's quick through the hairpin this time, back in the slipstream. He's probably about a quarter of a mile quicker as they come out of that corner and onto the straight. But no place swapping so far. We've now got 2 laps to go. Murray Scott still in the lead and the holder of the fastest lap. I think the track may be a little bit damper than it was earlier in the race, so the lap time's probably not going to drop further. But yeah, it's and a mistake from James Hitchin in third place. He gets very sideways on the approach to McIntyre. He's controlled it beautifully. The classic front wheel drive recovery of just floor the throttle and the front wheels drag you around. But he's lost 2 positions as a result. He drops down to 5th. Andrew Davison sneaks through as well, but Aidan Wilson is now up into 3rd place. He's on for a podium. We've got 1.5 laps to go now. How much performance has Aidan Wilson got? Can he catch the 2nd place man Dan Martin in the 99 car? That will be quite a tall order for him, but he's going to give it a shot. I'm sure he will see Dan Martin ahead, and already he is actually closing in. The 70 car then is now in 4th position with Andrew Davison at the wheel, and James Hitchin in 27 trying to recover into 4th position. James Hitchin retakes 4th position from Andrew Davison as they go through the hairpin. Andrew Davison gets the cut back on the exit though, gets alongside him and gets back in front into 4th position. So a nice little squabble going on there between Andrew Davison and James Hitchin, just crossing the line now. Behind them, on the 117 car, is Martin Nisbet. He'll be enjoying that because that will pull him further towards them as they fight over 4th position. He will be able to benefit as they lose momentum. Meanwhile, we're on the final lap. In 3rd place is Aidan Wilson, who started at the back of the grid. He is closing in on 2nd place Dan Martin. As they finish that last lap, there was 0.9 of a second between them. Now, can Aidan Wilson make up 0.9 of a second in one lap and take 2nd place? The gap is closing. It's closing rapidly, in fact, but whether it's going to close enough, it might take a mistake from Dan Wilson. So Dan Martin, I should say. So Dan Martin has to really drive the perfect last section of the race here. They're coming towards the last corner of the last lap. Aidan Wilson has really closed down that gap very, very effectively. And will he make a lunge into the last corner, last lap, or will he settle for a safe podium? I think he's on the absolute limit as they come through the corner here. He's going to get a good run out of the corner. Now, is he close enough? He's gaining and gaining and gaining, but I don't think he's got enough distance to do it. So the race is won by Murray Scott in car 51, Dan Martin 2nd in 99, and Aidan Wilson 3rd from the back of the grid in car 24. Just hanging on in 4th was James Hitchin in 27. Andrew Davison 70 finishes 5th, ahead of Martin Nisbet 117, James McCracken 77, and the number 6 of Kenny Dock. Then a little bit further back is Ian Cochrane in the 61 car, and then getting to a finish. So well done for Matthew Baldy. He got to the finish of the race after all the trials and tribulations he's had. Dale Edwards 19 was a non-finisher. Murray Scott incidentally was the top newcomer, and he's won the race overall. And at the end there, we got a new fastest lap from Aidan Wilson. He did a 1 minute 12.937. Just after I said I didn't think we'd see any faster laps, he went and proved me wrong with a 1 minute 12.937. So winner then, number 51 Murray Scott, 99 Dan Martin 2nd, and Aidan Wilson 24 from the back of the grid in 3rd place and fastest lap. Winning margin was just over 2 seconds actually. Murray Scott from that safety car in just the 5 remaining laps managed to pull out nearly 4/10 per lap. So that's pretty dominant stuff.